Big Boss Filmworks presents Motown Mafia Podcast, dedicated to representing life in the struggle, and the struggle is relative. And now, your host, entrepreneur
What's happening,
Courtney
family?
Brown
It is your
Jr.
man CRB Jr., aka Courtney Robert Brown Jr. in the house here with his main man, the backbone and right arm of Big Boss Filmworks, Lou Stevens in the house. What's happening, fam?
Big up one and all.
So for me and Lou, Uncle Butch, Pops, the Field Marshal, the Professor, Mr. Vice President, all that, and the entire Big Boss family, we want to say thank you guys and support. The channel is growing rapidly. We got some plans to really up our game and even bring some more compelling content. Cannot go into any details, but we are speaking with some gentlemen with exceptionally deep pockets who have expressed some interest in us really taking this thing up to the screen. So we will keep you abreast upon that, but without any way, no matter and however, we are going to start taking some of this content, some of these compelling stories. You know what I'm saying? I did a thing, from 1970 to the turn of the century to 2000. Either Eddie Jackson or those who fell off his tree here in the city of Detroit, or he interacted with. So we're talking about Demetrius Holloway. We're talking about he crossed paths Felix Walls. When Eddie goes away, Doc Davis, and then many of our associates end up hustling with all those guys. And you got the whole YBI era, the stuff that Pap and Eddie Jr. were involved in, and then obviously his offspring off of his tree. My father. And the Pakistani plug thing that, from 92 to 97, Pop sold as much as he wanted. He made as much as he saw fit to make. And I'm going to unpack that statement a little bit later, that when I say he made as much as he wanted to make. If he didn't make more, it's because he chose not to make more because he thought he might get himself hot. So that anyway, with all that said, so we got obviously 30 solid years of content to unpack, and then we're going to start putting some reenactments and some short stories together and really give you guys hopefully some entertainment value and some educational value. So that's all coming, but here, this is a Mondays episode, where we try to kind of tie in what we've learned and seen from all those experiences. I was in 1970 when, or 69 when Pops got with the Fat Man. So I was 4 years old then, 6 years old, 64, 6 years old then. So what I saw from age 6 until the turn of the century, and the business situation. So what this episode today is about is actually the journey of going legit. A lot of commenters always question, all that money you guys made and touched your hands, what happened to the money, this, that, and the third. There was always an attempt to go legit. And going legit can be not just if you're in the streets hustling, moving a bag, and transforming that business model into legitimate tax-paying businesses. It can be if you're hustling out your trunk. What's that process like to do that? To go from selling barbecue dinners. You're selling 100 barbecue dinners a day at $20 a whop. In front of the gas station party. So you're doing $2,000 a day. But what's that transition to opening up a barbecue restaurant? It's a thing. It's a mental hurdle, right? Because what I think gets lost a lot, whether it's the Eddie Jackson story, the Frank Matthews story, the Nicky Bond story. Nicky goes from low level, goes to jail, meets the mob, boom, becomes mega kingpin. Eddie driving taxis, borrowing $50 from my old man to get him through. Next thing, he's a multimillionaire. And this is all occurring. Frank Matthews, they get caught a case for stealing a chicken. Literally. For stealing chickens in North Carolina when he moves up from North Carolina up to Brooklyn.
Wow.
And within, 24 months, a guy who's stealing chickens is maybe the biggest thing on planet Earth in organized crime as far as black drug kingpins going. So you just can't go from poverty to millionaire and then all of a sudden you say, hey, let's now become a Fortune 500 company. We're going to now hire Arthur Andersen Tax Services and It just doesn't work like that, guys. So it just was making me think about the whole process and how long the family, and now God is good. Our family has. I don't go into all of the things because I have family members and lots of partners and investors involved in lots of things, and it's just not appropriate for me to go deeply in. But let me cut to the chase and be clear for any of those to question. I'm straight. The fam is straight. Okay, I'm gonna say it one more time and then I'm gonna let that go. I'm straight. My family is real straight. Okay, the next generation is Ivy League educated, and you still can't drive a whole bunch of places in this town and you ain't gonna pass something that either we own or got a piece of. Oh, so be clear on that. Just for the record, get that off my chest. I don't. We do this. This is a passion, and we take this what we do here at Big Boss very seriously. But this is not how I eat, fam. I am not that YouTuber. Okay, I do not wait for the 22nd of the month to come for the YouTube payout to do nothing. You heard me? To do nothing. My broads couldn't live off of what I make off this. Okay, let's be clear. And you can go to any strip club in Detroit if you want verification of this. Anyway, that'll be silly. But okay, so you got March 15th, 1973, Detroit News runs article, Partners in Real Estate. The question is Eddie Jackson and Courtney Brown, are they partners in real estate, or are they, can you do me a favor, brother? Can you grab me a copy of Motown Mafia? Mm-hmm. So the newspaper's question is, they run this big story. Maybe when we do this post, we'll even show you guys the actual article. Eddie Jackson said Eddie already had some legitimate businesses. His dad had left him, and I'm talking about the fat man's dad, had left him and his brother Elijah. Yeah. If you ain't checked out the book, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid, Motown Mafia, right? So in that same article where they talk about are they neighbors in real estate, or are they the biggest kingpins in Detroit, or perhaps even the Midwest, the newspapers say. Then they go on to say, hey, both Jackson and Brown say they are business partners in real estate, but neither will reveal any details about their activities. Federal authorities are more specific. They say the two men are among Detroit's principal active narcotic suppliers. Detroit Free Press, Monday, April 16th, 1973. Actually, that was a different article. That was the one in April. They had ran one in March about the neighbors in real estate. So a great deal of the reason why there was no forfeiture of our luxurious homes in Southfield or any of the cars was because Eddie had legitimate businesses. He owned a relatively huge real estate portfolio, right? And there were some opportunities to really go legit a lot sooner, but they were young, and I think people need to put those kind of things in context too. These guys, Eddie was in his late 20s, my father in his early 30s, Black Butch is in his early, late teens, early 20s.
19.
Yeah, the Dolph, again, they were young. So anyway, this is all happening really quick. They've become multimillionaires really, really quickly. Eddie had come from a business family. So he had thoughts about going legitimate or focusing more of his, but life was happening real quick. So their bail bondsman was, shout out to Chuck Goldfarb Bail Bondsman, located still right now down on Beaubien Street in Detroit. Fascinating family, for those who don't know about the Goldfarbs. They've crossed paths with everybody of significance in organized crime over average is one of the country's premier bail bondsmen. I won't go into Chuck's business like that, but again, shout out to the stand-up guy and all of that. So anyway, Chuck Goldfarb calls to Eddie in 72, and he tells him that he should think about investing in this McDonald's franchise. Eddie said, McDonald's, yeah, I'm seeing them pop out. I know now it's hard to imagine that anybody would question in 2021 the viability of opening up a McDonald's franchise. But believe it or not, in 71, McDonald's was a big company But if you've ever seen that movie, The Founder, the Ray Kroc story, even as late as 71, McDonald's was not the juggernaut of a company that it is now. So Eddie respects Chuck Goldfarb and them, Chuck, the Goldfarb, they had, in fact, Chuck, he caught a case because of his hidden control, I believe, of Caesar's Palace or Thunderbird or Sahara, one of those Vegas casinos there. If you ever seen the movie Casino, that's kind of telling the story of what those guys who were Eddie and Dad's bail bondsmen were involved in. Great movie. Robert De Niro talks that whole casino Vegas union thing. But anyway, Chuck tells Eddie, Chuck and his brother, rest his soul, Irving, they tell Eddie, you should think about opening up, buying one of these McDonald's franchises. Eddie's response is, well, how much does it cost? Chuck's response is about $150,000. I know the guys who are with the corporate McDonald's. We can get you a franchise for about $150,000. Eddie's response was, God rest his soul, $150,000 for a hamburger joint. That's a lot, ain't it? For a hamburger joint. Right now, you can't get a McDonald's franchise for like $3 million, right? And a good McDonald's location is like it's better than French Road in the middle of the Pakistani plug. A good McDonald's franchise to $15,000-$20,000 if it's in the right location. God forbid you get one out of state. You're like on 42nd Street in New York or down on International Drive in Orlando. You got to locate. It's a license to print money. That deal went through if he decided to start buying McDonald's and Burger King franchises back then, but they didn't. But it was on the radar to take some of this money as early as the 70s and do that. So I implore again on both. If you're in the streets, get out the streets. You gotta have an exit strategy. And a lot of the guys from this lifestyle don't like to talk about it because we squandered. In my time, by the time my time comes in the 80s and 90s, we squandered so much money. Pops and Eddie and that crew and Butch and them, they squandered so much money. When you're young and money's coming in that much and it's cash, we are all human. So there is no excuse for some of the financial folly except for life is short and you do only live once. Some days I think back and I want to cry about, my, $3,000 a day lifestyle. But then some of that shit, some of those experiences could not have been financed for less. And in the end, it's not about things, it's about experiences. And I know you got to have enough money to take that approach in life. You got to have enough things to where things stop being important to you and experiences are more important than things because you got all the things you want, right? If you read in Kevin's book, The Crack Era, which again I implore everybody to read, great read. Shout out always to the big homie Kevin Childs. He talks about that every day he left the house, he had to leave the house with about $3,000-$4,000 because that being who he was. I mean, you guys do you know what it is when everybody know you got money? But we from the black community. Most of the people that we interact with ain't got that much money. So when you got 100 times more money than 95% of the people you interact with, guess what? If you're a good-hearted guy, you end up giving away a lot of money, man. Every day. Even today, way removed from the streets. When I'm on the block here, man, people know I got $2. If I'm sitting in front of the store smoking a cigar, hey, Courtney, yeah, this going on, this, and the third, let me hold something, you got 20, you got 50. You stop by your man house, they got some problems.
Give me some money, man.
And then some of the old heads, right, just gonna cut, nigga, give me some money.
Yeah.
Just give me some money. Why? Because you keep money, and so take those guys and multiply that times 1,000. So anyway, I was back to what I was saying about if you're in the streets, get out the streets. You gotta have an exit plan. You gotta find a niche. We did some stuff about a couple years ago about 5 ways to go legit. But I'll just repeat again what Warren Buffett said about these things. Rule number 1 in businesses: don't lose money. Rule number 2 in businesses: please don't forget rule number 1. Don't lose money.
That's right.
And rule number 3: do something that you understand. So speaking on the understand thing, and why it served us well, coming from a humble family who had humble beginnings, what we understood was simple real estate, which meant when you come from a family that's had to rent and is full of renters, and you get a hold of some capital, right? You understand the landlord-tenant relationship. So we bought houses, lots of properties. We bought big houses that we could turn into rooming houses. So, right, you buy a 10-bedroom house, we understood we could rent out each room was its own apartment. So let's do the math. If I got a 10-room house and I'm charging the tenants $350 a month, that's $3,500 a month, right? Well, it's hard to get $3,500 a month rent from one house. But we understood how that worked. We understood that a big house is better than a big house if done in rooming, if you are comfortable dealing with those brothers and sisters in that environment, is a small apartment complex, right? Mm-hmm. But we understood that. So we never got real fancy. And then kept it simple, right? So if you got 10 houses, they got 10 bedrooms, and each one is rented for $350. Now that's $35,000 a month. That means in 10 months, that's $350,000 top line revenue. Add in another 70, right? Now we're at 420. $420,000 over the course of 10 years is $4.2 million. Don't ask me no more what happened to the money. Okay? Don't ask me that no more. Okay? We can count. Been counting for a long time. All right? So do things you understand, man. Again, if you like cars, car washes, go into that. If you like apparel, go into that. Cause so they, Pops and them was trying to go legit again for a long time. Then you fast forward to the 80s. We opened up a simple check cashing company. We thought it was pretty simple. We had a lot of people hustling at the plant and at the factory. They all got their check. For numerous reasons, those checks were obligated to us for this, that, or the third. So we would just send our people out there, with $50,000, $60,000 when and we'd cash the checks for the guys when they would get off their shift. The authorities did not think that my father needed to be involved in the check cashing business, and or myself, and that was a show. But we had my point. Okay, so yes, our check cashing business was shut down after about 11 months. I was finding myself being subpoenaed. The authorities were coming to my store in New York saying, they made me sign like every check that we cashed. I don't know how many checks we cashed. It was hundreds, maybe thousands. When the feds, because they made me sign, because they were looking to see, if it was some kind of forgery or finding, which it wasn't. I hadn't signed, and then they were, in fact, we was cashing personal checks for some of our friends. When the feds contact them, they're like, to be honest, the check we wrote Mr. Brown, it bounced. So, anyway, so we were thinking even then, we understood that. Again, simple people. Okay, if we cash 100 checks, we make $10 each check, right? That's $1,000, right? 10 times 100. We ain't never pretended to be Einstein, but we can count, right? It was a simple way, so the check cashing concept again. So we was thinking, again, the hustle got in the way, the feds got in the way, the check cashing thing. Then, again, some more, you got to understand too, family. When you're deep in the hustle at that level, and this could be whatever you're in, when things are going good for you, it's hard, you get distracted. And it's a lot like, as far as in the street life, it's like the casino, man. You're up a whole lot, and then you're down. And then you're up a whole lot, and then you're down. It's not, that's why you need to go legit to get a more stable trajectory of your finances, right? And then the Cotillion Club, when we bought the Cotillion Club in '92, the Pakistani thing had really just got going good. Pops and them had come up from an era where live music was a big thing. I had some connections from New York. Shout out to Money Walsh. Shout out to big homie Jay Walsh. They had been booking acts at Indigo Blues. You've heard Eddie Baby talk about Indigo Blues, the joint right across the street from the Marquis Marriott. Anyway, and at this point, Pops is rolling. He got it in fifth gear, and we were like, and now we're older, so now a little bit less excuse. We're older. We've been around the block. Pops went through the run with Eddie. Been to prison on that case. He been violated for a pistol. They had to do a little more time. Ended that Bohemian Caribbean run. It just ended the Nigerian thing, and now this Pakistani thing comes in. A lot of money coming in. We kind of then went through the whole had a lot, lose it, had a lot, lose it, and we're really looking at something that can be sustainable. So in my immediate business cycle, a lot of my business mentors are old school guys, right? And they say stuff, and it made sense in the fact I've been too smart to listen to them a lot. People in our community, this is what we gon' do. We gon' buy clothes. For better or worse, I'm not passing any judgment. Speaking of clothes, shout out Kathy, Strictly Sportswear, 7 Mile. It's a lot of times all that feline stuff you guys see me wearing, that comes from Strictly's. Shout out to Kathy down there in Calvin. They got some of the flyest stuff, always 30 plus years in the city, keeping it fly. Another shout out to a client, a friend, and business associate, brother Jaron, just opened up. Rack certified. He's out there at that plaza on 12 Mile and Southfield Road. That's where I got this Negro League jersey from. He's got some fly stuff out there. So the old heads used to always be like, "Look, boy, don't." What they used to tell me, we ain't sending you to school. We ain't sending you to the white folks' school to come back stupid. So I come back and be talking about I'm gonna start selling vegan cookies, some shit like that. They'd be like, "See, that's what we told you. Y'all just sent them kids to school. Now they didn't come back stupid. Niggas don't want vegan cookies. Niggas want Hennessy." I mean, excuse my language. I'm being a little silly, but I'm actually being deadly serious. We have in our community, we have forfeited the basics of who we are when it comes to doing business. Stop calling me. Dollar Bill. That was Dollar Bill calling me, of the famous Harmon family off of French Road, Harding legends. William Harmon, God rest his soul. Kenny Harmon, rest his soul. And the Harmon family. Shout out to them and that whole French Road, Harding, off Mack Avenue crew. That's my man Bruce Harmon calling me to remind me to get him a jogging suit, which is a good thing you called me, Dollar. I would have forgotten. But anyway, I was saying, man, okay, everybody, we need to keep it real here. It being a Money Monday, and talk about where the money go. For some reason, we know that we like to drink. What did the girls, them young girls say? That Patron, right? We gonna drink Hennessy. We gonna drink Douce. We gonna drink Ciroc. But for a lot of us, shy away from getting involved into the bar business or the liquor store business. Shout out to my man across the street. What's my man on the shop across the street? The liquor store now. They just got their liquor license. Oh, okay. Kelly's Corner. Kelly's Corner of Ashbury Park and 7 Mile, across the street from our shop. Brother just got his liquor license. Great thing, right? Because that's what people drink. We drink alcohol in our community, right? And it just doesn't make any sense for us not to sell it. And you can do what you want to do after you got your cash right. But until you get your cash right, you might want to think about entrepreneur family out there doing what you need to do. It is just a lot easier to sell. It's a little more startup cost, but selling things like alcohol and tobacco and potato chips are good business models.
That's right.
So anyway, Pop and them knew about the entertainment business in that way, and we had a good run. And that Cotillion Club thing, what we had, obviously, besides the fact we had opportunity to bring in some acts, and these people would end up becoming major celebrities. We are the ones who brought Mike Epps to Detroit for the first time. We brought J.B. Smoove to Detroit for the first time. We brought Cheryl Underwood to Detroit for the first time. Drew Frazier. And the list goes on and on. So, again, we understood that, though. We understood, hey, you bring in an act, you build a stage, right? and you sell booze, you sell chicken wings and fries and liquor while the people are telling jokes. We then later, of course, went on. Pops is an old school music head, brought in the Enchantments, the Intruders, Blue Magic, Floaters, and that whole era. All of those guys. And same thing. People want to come, sit down, eat, drink, listen to music. So sometimes we just get too fancy. But because in our community, we are going to go out on Friday night and have some libation and drink and dance and talk crazy. We are going to want to look good. So the apparel. Anybody who knows about, if you don't know the statistic, African American women spend $15 billion a year on hair. I assure you, as I look at my wig collection, wigs and hair are huge. If you don't believe me, go to a Korean community and drive around and see if it does not look very prosperous. Those people have made billions out of our community in the hair industry. So whether it's cool to have the barber shop, but we got to start thinking about being the manufacturers of the clippers, of the actual barber chair, of the apron, all of the auxiliary things to go in. It's great that we got the salon part of the game, but all the inputs of running the salon, we still don't control in our community. So that's what all a part, and that's all again, and part of this going legit thing, where we missed the boat on a lot of that stuff. Because if my head would have been where it is now, I would have opened up a barber chair company, right? I would have knowing what I know now, I'd make the aprons that they put on you every time you get your hair cut, right? Yeah. I would have put in the sinks. I've been to the supply houses over in China where they make that stuff. It's a huge business. And even though that brother Big Ed Hansen, he had about 20 salons, and even franchising them out. And it's another big hair family here in Detroit, the Mongos. Shout out to Skip and that family, the Mongos. They've been, even back in Detroit, we used to have, remember in the 80s, Vantina's 24-hour salon. Yep. So again, there's always room for one more, but And so much of that, like those salon business and barbershops, I know how appealing it is to keep it underground and kind of street-like. It's all cash and it's all gravy. But franchising them and bringing some standardization to those kind of businesses, those are all opportunities we got in our community to really grow and take things to the next level. So, and then, out of necessity to keep the going legit. So that Cotillion Club really kind of took us in the trajectory. We were going to have one more run-in with the authorities, that would cause Pops to have to sit down again. But the family, again, by this time, our real estate footprint was kind of really established. And in fact, the other members of the family, even as late as that time, was saying, "What are you guys even doing now? It's not necessary. We're not there yet." Mm-hmm. And then when you come around, Lou.
Oh, man. God, that was, 98, 99?
No, I peeped your Fairlane, so that was 02.
Oh, 02, okay.
02, right?
Yeah.
So, because Pops hadn't got, the hammer was just about to fall in that Pakistani situation.
That's right.
And so I personally, still helping out the family with the real estate business. I said, I was going to try to make my mark in the apparel world. Mm-hmm. And, I think that was the last time. That was 02, last time I touched, for all those while, last time I touched any contraband. And then, of course, it's been a whole journey, and we've covered that, and we're going to repack some of that stuff. In the clothing, a bunch of different clothing concepts, bought, mm-hmm. sold, reopened, mm-hmm. in the middle of a new reinvention again on that. So again, keep it simple out there, family. I hope you guys are able to follow this story and pick up what I'm trying to put down. You got anything to say on that, Luke?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, are you still, just for those who don't know, are you still into consulting?
Yeah, I do consulting. I don't market myself as one. I become a de facto one. People in this town kind of know me and know all the kind of things I've been involved in. So if people do reach out, which every once in a while they do, I keep a couple clients just out of word of mouth. Shoot us an email to bigbossfilmworks@yahoo.com. Just let me know what you're trying to do. I always do offer like a free half-hour consultation. If you just reach out to me, eventually we'll make. I'm gonna be honest, busy guy. But reach out to me. We'll set up some time. Eventually we'll get on the phone. I'm real old school like that. I don't do a bunch of typing. But I'll get you on the phone. You kind of tell me what you're doing. I'll let you know if it's something I know something about. You know, the first time I knew I was getting smart was when I realized how much I did not know. Right?
There you go.
So I do know what I do know, and I know what I don't know, and there's a universe and stuff that I don't know. But the things I do know about, I kind of know a little bit about them. So if they fit into my skill set or my experience, and if I don't know, I might know who you should talk to if you got a business idea or business plan, or you're going through some business struggles. And then after that free consultation, if it's something that makes sense,
Yeah.
you know, I do allow a customizer craft projects or programs, and you can any of my references of anybody who's ever took on any of my consulting, I think they've been pleased about the outcomes.
You're talking to one of them.
Okay, thank you, brother Lou.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, we just put up shop.bigbossfilmworks.com, where you can pick up our apparel. We have coffee mugs, we have hats, t-shirts, Black Butch, Eddie Baby, the whole 9 yards. Bunch of t-shirts we have. I'll put them on frame as I speak over this, and check them out, man. A lot of new stuff happening.
All right, family. Good thing. Good stuff, Lou. Good stuff. So again, another Money Monday. Hope you guys got something out of this. Again, don't lose. Rule number 1: don't lose money. Rule number 2: don't forget rule number 1. Rule number 3: do something you understand. Booker T. Washington in Getting Off Zero. Mind right, money right. Start where you're at with what you got, and you'll find that you've got all you need. You know, if I waited to have everything in order to open up a business, I would never have had a business.
Talk to them.
Sometimes you just got to go with what you got, and let the universe and God, you know. People be talking about they want God to bless their business. Well, you got to get a business for God to bless it.
Yes.
How can he bless a business that talk about faith? You got to have enough faith for the good Lord. You got to do something. You know, faith without works is dead, I believe is what the scriptures say. But I'm not going to keep rambling, family. We appreciate you guys. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button.
And hit that notification bell so you know when we drop something new, or if something is in the works. I do premieres like every week. So if you hit the notification bell, you will know when something new is about to pop up. And I love y'all. Thanks for supporting us. And we got a lot more to come.
All right, family. We're out. It's your man, CB Jr., Big Lou Stevens in the house. Doing what we do. Holla at you, man.
Peace.